Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome on board the Windsor Monarch. Just have your attention, please, for a brief safety, which I'm required to give you by law. Now, in the highly unlikely event of any emergency, the exits, we have two main exits. One, of course, the one you entered the vessel by. Another gateway that's downstairs in the forward saloon on the right or starboard. Sliding windows downstairs in the saloon, and of course over the open sides of the upper deck. We carry float-free rings and rafts. These are stored around the outside of the upper deck and on top of the roof just in front of the skipper. Rings carry 2 and rafts carry 20. Again, in the highly unlikely event of any emergency, just to obey all orders given to you by your skipper and crew in a very calm manner. Thank you. Okay, so my name's David, your skipper for today. I have my two crew. We have Nick and Jacob. We have a couple of restrooms downstairs, also a bar if you would like any drinks. I am afraid to say it is cash only. I know that's very retro nowadays, carrying cash, so I am sorry for any inconvenience. So Nick and Jacob will do a service for you throughout the cruise and bring the drinks to you. Okay, so as you can see, we're turning. Going to take you downstream, first of all, through Romney Lock, take you around the Crown Estate near Datchet, and then we're going to turn and take you back through Romney and take you further upstream and show you a bit more of Windsor. Okay, to navigate downstream, we do need to lower the roof on the upper deck, as we have to navigate through Eaton Bridge. Okay, just about to lower the roof, so those upstairs to remain seated, please. Keep your arms inside near your laps, away from moving parts, and those of you downstairs to please remain downstairs for a few moments. Okay. London in an easterly direction. Wish to get to, let's say, Westminster Pier by river from Windsor. This would take you roughly 12 hours, I reckon, to get to Westminster Pier. Wanted to turn, head upstream towards Lechlade in Gloucestershire. That's in a westerly direction. Eventually get to Lechlade in 3 days, about 2 days to get to Oxford. Now this is due to the speed limit on the non-tidal Thames, which is 5 miles per hour or 8 kilometres, and the amount of locks you would have to pass through. Now there's 45 locks on the River Thames. Now the River Thames is relatively short. It's only 215 miles in length from source to sea, and of this 140 miles is non-tidal. Now that starts at the source at Thames Head down to Teddington Lock. That's 140 miles. That's all non-tidal, and then it becomes tidal after Teddington Lock towards the North Sea. Now just around the corner is Romney Lock. Now this is at number 9, again in the line of 45. Now we are heading again downstream, so we're going to be lowered in Romney about 8 foot. Now, if you ever have a vessel heading downstream into a lock, make sure you don't tie off the vessel, otherwise you will be, of course, hanging and moving nowhere, which we've seen quite a few people do. Through the trees to our left, which you can't see, but it's the natural course, which is together with the weir, which every lock has. Now all the weirs pretty much act like a dam. They've all been made up by a series of gates, so you have 8 weir gates. And it's by opening and closing these gates, the lock keeper can control a safe navigational depth between 2 locks. Okay, so this is the reason why we could be one of our steamers ahead of us. We have two steamers, Streatley and Newnham, built in 1890. These are coal powered. I'm sure we'll give you a steam tube on the way past. This is the Newnham.
Boundary of their grounds. Rowing is a popular pastime at Eaton, the boys choosing either that or cricket as their summer sport. Those choosing cricket are known as dry bobs, whilst the rowers are called wet bobs. We will soon pass through Blackpot Railway Bridge, which was completed in 1849 as part of the Windsor, Thames and Richmond Railway. The first scheduled service on the line was due in August of that year. However, structural failure and an outbreak of cholera delayed the opening of the line until the following November. Merging through Blackpot Bridge, we will pass Windsor Home Park on our right hand side. This is an area of royal land given to the people of Windsor by Queen Victoria. This piece of land was originally called Little Park, and we know that it was used as a training ground for Oliver Cromwell's New Model Army during the Civil War. In the late 1600s, Queen Anne created the Maastricht Gardens here, named after the 1673 battle in Holland. The garden had a high wall around it and a lake at the centre, with symmetrical pathways and avenues of formerly planted trees. The gardens were extensively developed during the 12 years of Queen Anne's reign. However, work stopped soon after her death, as the costs of planned future improvements were considered too high. The gardens rapidly fell into decline after this and were no longer maintained. The area is now flat parkland, but an aerial photograph taken in 1964 during dry weather clearly shows the outline of the pathways. In 1855, the wall around the Maastricht Gardens was finally removed, but wherever possible the bricks were reused for other projects. As we continue past the home park, we will see through the trees that the river is bringing us around the north side of the castle, revealing the north terrace and more of the round tower. The spires of St George's Chapel will just become visible to the far right. Victoria Bridge is ahead of us now. It's one of a pair of bridges built in 1851, bringing the main road around the perimeter of the castle grounds. In this way it marks the upstream boundary of the royal estate. It was partly funded by the Windsor, Thames and Richmond Railway Company, who in 1847 had sought permission to bring their railway into Windsor. Permission was granted the following year, in return for a substantial contribution towards a road bridge as part of the Windsor Improvement Act. The original central span was a much more ornate iron structure than the present-day version. The bridge suffered damage during the Second World War when a string of tanks crossed over it, overloading the structure. Following an inspection in 1960, the bridge was closed for repair. Soon after this, it is said that passengers on the Datchet Windsor bus had to disembark, walk across the bridge and rejoin the bus on the other side, so keeping the weight of the bus under its 3-ton limit. The bridge was then closed again in 1963 for repair after sustaining frost damage in the preceding winter. During this time, a temporary footbridge was constructed to one side. Pay careful attention to the private gardens passing on our left now, which belong to the houses on the other side of the main road. The reason for this will be explained shortly. We are now near to the point where Datchet Bridge used to cross the river, marked by the long section of bank coming up on our left-hand side. beyond which the main road can be seen heading away from us. The first bridge was built for Queen Anne in 1706 and replaced the ferry. In 1770 it was rebuilt with 10 wooden arches on stone pillars. In 1796 the bridge partly collapsed and the ferry was reinstated. Then in 1812 the third and final bridge was built. It was the cause of much dispute as the responsibility for its construction and upkeep fell to two separate counties. In those days Windsor was in Berkshire, whilst Datchet was in Buckinghamshire. One half was constructed in iron and the other in wood, added to which the two halves didn't meet in the middle, as the Berkshire half had a cantilevered section to permit passage of larger vessels. Unfortunately, Buckinghamshire did not feel it necessary to reciprocate by building the opposite cantilever. The bridge was described as a hideous monstrosity and showed a lack of compromise between the two counties and feuded for almost 20 years. Datchet has made a few other notable entries in the history of the area. It was here that on the 5th of July 1895 the first petrol-driven motor vehicle arrived in the country, having been driven from France by the Honourable Evelyn Ellis, himself a resident of Datchet. And in January 1911, Sir Thomas Sock to our right, though barely visible from the river, is the Frogmore Estate, comprising the 17th century Frogmore House, which has been the home of several members of the royal family over the years. These days it is not lived in, but used for entertaining guests. When in 1997 the Royal Yacht Britannia was decommissioned, several items from it were used to furnish the house. In 2008, the house was used to host the wedding reception of the Queen's grandson, Peter Phillips. And then in 2018, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle also used the venue for their wedding reception. In the grounds of the estate is the Royal Mausoleum, the resting place of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. There is also the Duchess of Kent's Mausoleum, where Queen Victoria's mother was buried. Frogmore Cottage is also within these grounds. This became the family home of Harry and Meghan, having been given to them by the Queen shortly after the wedding. providing the royal household and staff with milk, cream and butter. Then in 1871 the first Jersey cow called Pretty Polly arrived from Osborne House on the Isle of Wight, and a few of the cows here today can be traced directly back to her, making this the oldest herd of its kind in the country. We're now approaching Albert Bridge ahead of us, the second of the pair built in 1851 as part of the Windsor Improvement Act of 1848, and Albert Bridge effectively marks the downstream boundary of the royal estate.
I know
simply to lower the roof for the final time. To get those upstairs to take a seat please, to remain seated. And keep your arms inside near your laps. And downstairs to now remaining downstairs please. Thank you. These are the Eaton Boy Rowers and the next Prime Ministers. Sense of direction. I'm going to take you a bit of a upstream, show you a bit more of Windsor. So coming over to our left, shortly just behind the trees, you'll see a Hurricane fighter plane. This is placed as a memorial for its designer, Sir Sidney Can. It's a Windsor resident. That's to your left now, so the Hurricane. Ahead of us, a very famous bridge. This was designed and engineered by Embark Kingdom Brunel. Finished in 1849. This bridge is very unique. The fact that it lays there under its own weight, just under 6 bearings, allowing for the metal to expand and contract. It's believed to be Brunel's oldest iron structure, still in continuous use. A railway taking you from Windsor to Slough, up on the Royal train station. In fact, recently just been sandblasted and resprayed. Looks pretty much brand new, apart from the bloody pipe. They missed. The famous Bruno. To our left is Bath 8. 8 is the Saxon word for island, that's spelling E-Y-O-T. Over to our right is Cuckoo 8. This all belongs to Eaton College. Eaton own all this land to our right, starting from Windsor right away towards Maidenhead, which is roughly 5 miles in length. They own a piece of land in every county. The Windsor boys rowing to the left. The colours green and yellow for Windsor, blue for Eaton. See a cygnet there, that time of year. Over to our left, the Windsor Leisure Complex. Back in the early 60s stood a famous nightclub called the Ricky Tick, owned by the actress Diana Dawes. The famous bands played there. You had the Rolling Stones, The Who, the Beatles, Eric Clapton, even Jimi Hendrix, having his first UK debut at the Ricky Tick. The Plewer Mill Stream to our left. Lovely houses. Coming over on White Lily Island, which was sold by Plewer Boatyard for development in 1957 for only £8,000. Now easily worth over 20 million with 5 houses. Prices here have just rocketed over the years as they very rarely flood, as we now have the Jubilee River, which is the flood relief channel, costing the Environment Agency 110 million. So they very rarely flood around these parts. Further down in Runnymede, Racery, Staines, further up in Marlow and Henley, which are really badly affected in major floods. House for sale, there you are, 3.5 million. The one next door, goodness, 5-6 million. Lovely. This is the end of White Lily Island, has its own stream. Next door is the start of a new island called Rays, which is part of the Windsor Racecourse up ahead of us. Rays is the second biggest island on the Thames. The first being Canvey Island, down in the tidal Thames. in Essex. Should be turning here. The last house coming over to our left, see the black vessel which is docked, has a bit of fame. It used to belong to Michael Caine in the 60s. Not a lot of people know that, do you? Oh, you stole my joke. Then it was sold on to Jimmy Page, and the guitarist Led Zeppelin. Sold on again to Zin Zanbrook, it's the Kiwi, played for the All Blacks as captain. Retired. Zinny. And to our left, the Windsor horse races. The parade ring just ahead of us. Just behind is the figure of 8 track. And this racecourse is very unique. The fact that it's laid out on an island called Rays. The shape of the racecourse, a flat figure of 8. Also the only racecourse in the country to have its very own yacht basin. Race meetings are every Monday evening, some weekends until the end of October, and we always do a shuttle service for you to the racecourse, taking roughly 10 minutes, and then we take you back. So they were on last night. It was a Prosecco and a Q-stick in the garden. Next Monday is a busy one. That's an Irish night with Irish bands after, if you fancy. Up ahead of us, the Queen Elizabeth II Bridge, finished in 1966. Carries the relief road, goes towards the M4. If you look up on top of the bridge, on the railings all the way along, you'll see some red squares. And these are here for the swans. It's been said that swans can't tell the difference between any shades of grey. By the colour red, swans can adjust their height when flying over the bridge. Before the red squares, the swans are either flying to the bridge or into cars, causing accidents. So you can imagine driving 60 miles per hour and the impact of a swan coming into your window. We're here to help the swans with their navigation. think that's the same signet over to your left there. You've seen a few grey herons today's journey. Some kingfishers as well. Very common, like a flash of blue. The rail family, which includes coots and moorhens. The great crested grebe, these are very good diving birds. Completely unable to stand on dry land though, as they have their legs right at the back of their body, so they can't balance properly. Cormorants are big black birds with squares of the tails. It's really a saltwater species. Minks are also very common around these parts, an absolute pest to wildlife, taking both birds and their eggs. On the very odd occasion, otters have been spotted as well. Red kites, very common these days, hovering. There's the Canada goose alongside the Egyptian goose. So you've already seen quite a few views of Windsor Castle. The back views on the Crown Estate. As we round this bend, you'll see the most famous view of Windsor Castle. Looking to right to left, the slated roofs of the clock or curfew tower, the spires of St George's Chapel, the magazine tower, the round tower, the state apartments, the towers of Chester and Brunswick. Those are the two which were badly damaged in the fire of November 92. I've opened the window at the front here. Let's take a picture. There you are, I'm about to see a plane fly above Heathrow Airport in London. Well, there was a passenger many years ago said, "But the city dares to build a castle so close to an airport." I'll mention his nationality. So there you are, started off as a wooden stockade in 1066 by William the Conqueror, added on by many monarchs over the It all belongs to Eaton to our left, so Windsor to our right, Eaton basically to our left. So the flag on top of the castle, I believe it's the Union flag, indicates the King is not in. The Royal Standard, the red, gold and blue quarter flag, indicates the King is. As you can see, we'll soon be docked back at Windsor. Do hope you've enjoyed your cruise with us today. Hope it's been quite pleasant. Remember to take all your personal belongings when leaving. Just make sure you double check to take all your bags and coats when leaving, please. On behalf of myself and my crew on board of the Windsor Monarch, enjoy the rest of your day, safe journey home, and have a pleasant evening. Thank you very much.